Okay guys, everything about this meta has now changed. One simple change on the Warcraft Rumble PvP rotational mode has made a lot of decks feel very bad. Hogger, previously, very top tier, very top tier deck, now not very good, and the reason being is Dragon Towers. Dragon Towers changed all of the towers on the map from guard towers, which are single target physical damage, to an AoE cone elemental damage that deals more damage, a very high amount of damage, the closer you are to the tower, making a lot of melee minions very bad, and a lot of ranged minions very good. It is a huge shift in how the game is played, and it's going to significantly impact the types of decks that we see. Now, there are some decks that I think have remained and will remain very good, but there are also just some decks that are just not going to do as well as they did before. As I mentioned, Hogger being one of them. Baron as a unit, not so good. Gargoyle, absolutely garbage now. Earth Elemental, quite bad. Abomination does get shredded. You've got things like Molten Giant, which wasn't very good anyway, but it's going to be even worse now. Unbound decks in general, going to be really hard to play on this patch. So yeah, lots of different things that have happened, but ranged units in general have had their power level go up, and melee minions in general have had their power levels go down. So that is essentially the big change. And then obviously resistant minions like Quillbore, if that wasn't already S tier, is now kind of S plus tier because the unbound tanking is very powerful, and resistant in general is very powerful. I kind of feel like my Jaina deck could be pretty good. Now, this stuff, what you're seeing is something that I recorded. I recorded this stuff when I was doing it a minute ago, but unfortunately I forgot to record any of the sound because my microphone wasn't working. So now you're gonna have a different kind of video. I'm gonna be breaking down the games that I've played, and actually might be able to talk about them in a bit more detail. So this is gonna be quite good for me. So this is my Jaina deck, the kind of the Flame Elemental Frostwolf Shaman deck. I think that is going to be a bit better on this patch because resistant tanks are going to be that much more powerful. Unbound minions in general are going to be harder to pull off, although what I will say, as a result of this patch, Huntress has become very good, and Safe Pilot is also a bit better as well, mostly because Safe Pilot can get 2 or 3 attacks off before she actually takes any damage. You can see it on your screen in a minute. Watch. She takes no damage from the outside of the tower. Usually Safe Pilot dies in 2 shots from a guard tower. Safe Pilot can tank, because she gets 3 full rotations off before she dies on this current patch. So that's something to be aware of. Safe Pilot is very good. Huntress, you'll see in the last game that I play, is incredibly strong. She's basically a tank. She's now, like, Huntress is basically a tank, and she was already quite good at taking towers before. Huntress is the absolute most beast unit on this new rotation, simply because she is a resistant ranged unit, which is quite hard to come by, and she takes almost no damage from the dragon towers at the range that she actually attacks them. So you can see here that a lot of things get melted by the towers, and you're going to notice in a minute that my Fire Elemental, even though it is resistant, is going to take a massive amount of damage. I mean, the Kobold takes nothing on the outside and then gets instantly vaporized on the inside. And that's the kind of the big thing about this, is that the outside, when you're far away from the tower, you can actually tank a lot of damage. When you're very close to the tower, it is nigh on impossible to survive, regardless of whether you are a resistant tank. You're going to watch my in just a minute. Watch my Flame Elemental. It's resistant, but it's losing what, about 1/5 of its HP on every single shot, which was when we were playing before, you could tank upwards of like 30 shots. But now, even with the healing from the Frostwolf Shaman getting blitzed, the Frostwolf Shaman barely getting tickled, but my actual Flame Elemental is getting absolutely blitzed by the tower. And that's with resistant and with what, like 11,000 HP? Well, not 11,000 HP at level 5. My sort of main tank elemental's got like a huge amount of HP. Jaina, though, and Frostwolf Shaman doing a lot of work because they're ranged, and that's something that's important to note. Another deck that I actually think is going to work quite well on this patch is going to be old Murk-eye. So we're going to take a quick look at the old Murk-eye list, the one that I've posted a video about. If you're interested in seeing that video, I'll put the link in the description below. But I don't think anything's hugely changed about old Murk-eye. I actually think he's going to be pretty solid on this patch because, again, ranged, and you don't take a huge amount of damage from the towers on the outskirts. And even though you've got very vulnerable Murlocs, they can usually kind of get a bit of damage done before getting taken out. So we're going to look at old Murk-eye now. I think Rend is also another deck that's not going to be super good on the current patch, mostly because Drakes have to get quite close to deal their damage, so they'll get killed, Rend has to get quite close to deal his damage, and then in his melee form, he's usually armored if you're running scale and steel. And also, I think, Gargoyle, which is a Rend staple. Something you should note is that the Sapper stealth combo still works. They do not get blown up before they can reach the tower, so that is something important to note. You will notice that, I'll show you in a minute, my Murlocs at the top, they do actually get taken out as a group quite quickly, so that's one thing that you probably should be aware of as old Murk-eye, is that even though you can spam the enemy base, your units, like AoE units, are going to take more damage. Look at Rend. Rend gets absolutely obliterated by the tower. So yeah, something keeping in mind if you're playing a Rend deck is that you're not going to survive that long. What I was really excited to see, though, is that this sort of stealth Sapper combo, even on the main base, still connects, can't get stopped. So again, I think could be a strong addition. That's why I think this particular Murk-eye deck could be interesting. Another thing that you're going to see me test in just a moment, and it's not actually in this game, but something that I will test and show you in a second, is that I actually think that potentially running Frostwolf Raider or Frostwolf Rider with Saboteur, the one that reduces tower damage by 50%, could actually be genuinely quite good. I think it could be good on both this rotation and also on the rocket rotation. But it looks like old Murk-eye is still good, very serviceable, still works. So this time round, I'm going to be running old Murk-eye, but this time I'm going to be running Saboteur on my Frostwolf Rider. We're going into a Baron deck. Don't particularly think Baron is good. Other things that you might see get run that aren't particularly good either could be like Footmen. I think Footmen absolutely suck in this meta because they're all armored and not resistant, and they just get blown up by the tower. One thing you've got to remember if you're running Frostwolf Rider with Saboteur, no longer ignores minions, so now will just go face-to-face with the enemy over and over again, so you kind of have to find more of a clear path like you would do with Goblin Sappers. But actually that can be useful. Sometimes having something that completely ignores enemy minions is not great. But again, I'm showing you just the case here. You'll also see that Safe Pilot just stays so safe. Just really does stay. I mean, that's hilarious. When I just realized I said that out loud. But Safe Pilot really does stay safe. And it's just a very, very good unit. It was already very good before, but it's now even better, obviously. I'm going to see, or rather show you Frostwolf Rider now. It's going to go straight into the enemy base, and you'll see that even though it has no resistant, it can tank quite a few hits, reduces the damage by a significant amount, and can still get a decent amount of damage done. So that got like, what, a fifth of the enemy's HP on the base just chipped away, which is quite nice. So still something worth running. Might not be worth it at 100%, but it's better than running it without Saboteur, because without Saboteur it will just get absolutely eaten up by the base and it might not be worth running at all. And that's something that I might assess with this old Murk-eye deck. It might be that it's just not worth running Frostwolf Rider whatsoever, because it's just not as useful as just running something else in its place. But you can see that the Goblin Sapper combo is still alive and well. And you'll also see in just a minute how powerful Safe Pilot is in these situations, especially even when you've got the Frostwolf Rider dealing reduced, or making the tower deal reduced damage overall. When you can see Safe Pilot just taking no damage on the outside of the tower, able to get several rotations of shot off, still going, by the way, allowing me to just get another rotation off with a Frostwolf Rider. And again, like I said, I think old Murk-eye is going to be pretty good. We just go for the final push with the Goblin Sappers because we know that they work nicely, even by themselves, can't get stopped. I wonder if they would get stopped, though, if you weren't running the talents. That's something that is worth thinking about, and something I might give a test out. If any of you guys have tested them on this map without the talents or without Smoke Bomb, let me know. I would love to know if they work or if they don't work, just based on the current map setup. So the last deck that I'm going to show you is Tirion, and I want to show you Tirion for a couple reasons. The biggest being is I think Tirion on this patch is going to be fine, especially if you're running Divine Shield. You're going to negate the damage of the tower for up to 5 seconds, which is probably 2 full rotations of a burn, which is a lot of damage negation. I also think that Huntress, which is I run Huntress in my Tirion deck, I want to show you how unbelievably broken she is on this current update. Hogger, by the way, I don't think is good. I think Hogger in general is going to be very bad. You're seeing just here that we use Huntress to get control of the top of the bridge, which just basically allows us to kind of go for those chests for free. Interestingly enough, Flame Burst is so broken that we're able to just get blown up by a single Huntress, single Huntress auto attack and the rest of the Flame Burst. Really, really, really strong talent. one thing that you've got to be aware of is a safe pilot is a legitimate threat now, so you do need to kind of deal with it when it comes towards your base. You can't just leave it and hope that your base deals with it. But safe pilot is a genuine legitimate threat. I haven't actually tested Griffin Rider close to the enemy base. I don't know how Griffin Rider would be close to the enemy base. I wonder if Griffin Rider with extended range would obviously be quite strong. You're going to see now, in just a moment, I'll show you my Huntress going towards the side tower, and you're going to see, like, I don't even want to say. You just need to watch, because it is ludicrous. Right, watch the Huntress. Her HP bar's not moving. She's not taking any damage. And then with Tirion, she heals it back up. And then watch this. Like, so my Stonehoof Tauren, actually doing quite well, to be fair. Stonehoof Tauren's taking a couple of hits. But watch my Huntress now. Healed, no damage. No damage. Healed. Huntress, giga strong. Like, absolutely mega strong on this current PvP rotation. So if you can have a deck that you can work a Huntress into, like it can work on Baron, but I really equally think Tirion is probably going to be up there in decks for this particular rotation of towers, because Tirion plus Huntress is going to be a very strong combo to deal with. And I'm not entirely sure the best way that you deal with it. You know, maybe Abomination comes back into the fray because it's quite a good Huntress killer. I don't know. There aren't that many good, like, physical damage unbound units to deal with Huntress. Like Worgen, obviously you've got Maiev, but yeah, Huntress just against these towers can basically solo push. You don't even need the Tirion. You can solo push with Huntress. So that's just something to bear in mind. If you're playing Huntress, she's going to be very, very good on this rotation. But that's it. Look, as the meta evolves, I'll obviously keep chatting to you, keep telling you what I'm playing and what I'm seeing on the ladder. But as of right now, I did a couple of bits of testing, and you can see just how different it is in terms of how you need to play. And it really has changed the entire PvP landscape.